Hi everybody, Ed from Exemplify here, helping you grow your business with unforgettable customer experiences. Today I want to share with you all about how can you create a better experience for your customers. This is going to be 5 practical things that you can do to help make your business a better place for your clients or customers. I guarantee if you start to implement these 5 things, you're going to start seeing more customers buying from your business. You're going to start to have stronger relationships with your current customers, leading to more referrals. And ultimately, you're going to see your business grow more organically. We're not talking here about ads or bottom of funnel marketing. No, we're talking about reinvesting back into the lives of your current customers and seeing your business grow. If you're unsure about what a customer experience is, I've got a whole nother video on that. Go ahead, check it out. You're going to be able to see what a customer experience is, why it's important as a business owner, how it's going to help your business grow, and what is the impact that's going to be made for your customers. But now we're going to jump into how you can create a better experience for your current customers. Let's go. The first thing you can do when creating a better customer experience is mapping out the customer journey. This is really important to map out exactly where the customer is. So they've just made a purchase, and then how are you going to get them through to the goal of why they bought the product that you're selling or the service that you're selling in the first place. What is that process that's going to take them from exactly where they are to achieving the goal that they came to you to try and achieve? Not only does it help you internally as a business, it actually helps you communicate better with your customers. It allows your customers to know what's going to be happening next. What does this process look like? And essentially, whenever you're in a particular stage and you're able to then communicate with the customer, well, this is what's going to happen next. And then this is what's going to happen next. As for in e-commerce, it also allows you to track, okay, well, where is the customer at this point? If they've maybe purchased their product, then how can we communicate with them that their product is being shipped? How can we communicate with them that it's on the way? These are some of the very simple things, but it's really important to make sure that your customers know exactly what's going on, even if they're not required. To make this a great experience whenever you're in each stage, one of the great things to do is actually looking at what are the different ways that you can communicate with your customers, whether it be via email, via text message, via phone call, maybe use of video, gifting, and more to come on that later. But this is a great way to start to actually piece together where the customer is in this journey and what communications do they need to get so that they're put at ease, that you're building excitement and you're starting to actually engage them in that experience. The second thing that you need to do is unpack your customers' emotions. So this is a really important part where we've started to build our journey. We've got a particular staged process of what our customers will go through. Essentially, now we need to look at what are their emotions in each of those stages? How are they actually feeling in the build up to some of these things that they might have? Is it that they are receiving a product and they've essentially purchased something and now they're in a bit of buyer's remorse, being, okay, actually, I could really do with this right now and I'm frustrated that I haven't got this? Or have they just signed up for a service and they're expecting a kickoff call? They're about to be in a whole room of people they've never met before. How are they actually feeling going into these meetings going forward? This is really important to understand, because once you start to unpack the emotions and understand how your customers are feeling, this leads to creativity. This is where you can start to then look at ways of, okay, they might be feeling this emotion going into this meeting. How can we make sure that they actually don't feel dread, they actually start feeling excited about going into this meeting? So it really changes the whole emphasis going from one stage to another. And the best way you can start to understand how your customers are feeling is ask them. Ask them how they felt going through these stages. After you've perhaps had a kickoff call, ask them, how are they feeling in the build-up? How are they going through this? When somebody's purchased a product, get feedback on, how did they feel, how was the communication in the lead up to the shipping? How did that make them feel? I would advise doing this with customers who you're comfortable with already. Don't be doing this with new customers at this time. Start to really focus on people who you have a strong relationship with, they love your brand, and start to gather this feedback. As well, you can then even talk to people within your team. If you've got other people who deal with customers at a certain point, get their feedback and see if they understand exactly how customers are feeling in each of these stages. And the third thing that you can do, and I actually highly advise this, is start to make some assumptions. Start to look at, piece together, if you've got a team together, start to look at, okay, this is the particular stage, this is what's about to happen next. How would I feel in this stage? Or how, if I've been in another stage like this for a different business, how do I feel when I go through this? How do I feel when I've purchased something and I'm waiting for it to arrive? Start to be able to make some assumptions and then look to validate those assumptions by talking with members of your team and other customers within your business. So number 3, we've started to plan the journey, we've started to understand the emotions. Now it's time to eliminate friction. Whenever there's a negative emotion, it's really important that we try and soften these out as much as possible. Throughout your customer journey, excitement levels are not going to be at 100% of the time. That's just unimaginable. We're human. We're just not built to be that keen all the time. But if somebody is ever frustrated or impacted by something negative that's happened within the business, it's really important that we try and stamp those out early on. The earlier it is in the customer journey, the more important it is. These are the first few steps that customers are having with you. This is where first impressions are everything. So really start to, if you find something negative within your customer journey, start to try and counteract that and stamp it out. A really good example of this personally is whenever somebody sends me something to print out. I am a millennial. I have not owned a printer ever. If I need to print something out, that requires going down to Officeworks. It requires paying money to print it out, then signing it, then taking a photograph and scanning it back in. There's far too many steps in this for this to be a good experience for me. As for if you invest in a DocuSign or PandaDoc, being able to then send me something which I can digitally sign, then that's a much better experience for me as the customer. Number 4, communicate often. It's really, really important that you communicate with your customers whenever anything is going on. Let's not leave people in the dark. There's nothing worse than ordering something and essentially not really knowing where it is at any time. This is why Uber has been so successful in terms of we don't have to think about where my taxi is. I know exactly where it is because it's on a map. Essentially, what we want to do is give customers as much information as possible. There is a balance. We don't want to go overboard, but we want to make sure that we're keeping them up to date with things going on. So, for example, if you're an e-commerce business and somebody has ordered a product from you, it's really important to let them know that, okay, your order has been received. I've got this. And then a second one of your order has been dispatched. These are 2 very basic ones, but very important. The difference in a customer experience, if I didn't receive those, and still, even if the package turned up at the same time, the experience would be so different because in one, I'm constantly informed about where my package is. And then the second one, I'm left completely in the dark and I'm unsure about where my package is, even though it's arrived at exactly the same time. If you're in a service-based business, this is also really important as well. So even if the client doesn't need to be involved, it's really important to actually just tell them what's happening, even if it is behind the scenes. If you've been dealing with a sales rep and there's a certain handover process, just let them know that this meeting is actually going ahead, behind the scenes. Let them know that in a couple of days' time, you're going to be introducing them to XYZ within the business. Just being able to keep customers involved and letting them know what's going to be happening next and what's currently going on allows them to make sure that they're not felt like they're being left in the dark. Number 5, go above and beyond. There is nothing exceptional and there is nothing remarkable and nothing memorable about just doing the bare minimum. The keeping people in communication, not leaving them in the dark, that is so important, but it's not going to create much excitement going forward. Start to think about, in each of those different stages, how can you create something really memorable for your customers? How can you start to look at, okay, well, instead of giving a really boring presentation, what can we do instead? What can we send them that is going to look really different from receiving a report? Maybe it's their first quarter results on the back of a wine bottle, something. Get really creative, and the more creative that you can get the bad ideas out of the way, but start to look at, what is something so different that's just really going to excite your customers, and they're going to be like, wow, I'm so glad that they put this effort in. Even just a thank you note whenever somebody orders your product. A handwritten thank you note can go such a long way. It's so much more personal. It just brings you so much closer together with your customers and already makes a stronger relationship. So have a think about how you can go above and beyond. And I'm definitely going to be doing a video of different ways that I've seen this done with different businesses and different things that you can start to do yourself. Bit of a bonus one. This is still within the number 5, but make a memory. And that's really the whole essence of go above and beyond. You're not going to be able to, whenever you go to Disneyland, you're not going to be able to remember absolutely everything, but there are certain moments that you always remember. So brands do this to make sure that you can then associate a really positive memory with the business. So if, for example, I know a lot of companies nowadays, they send out $100 gift cards to their top 100 customers. And that's lovely, and that's great. Who doesn't love $100? But if you took that same $100 and you bought one of your customers, one of your clients maybe, who you knew loved belt buckles, and you bought him a $100 belt buckle, every time he looks at that belt buckle collection, he's going to remember your brand. So this is something where if you start to look at, how can I actually be memorable? How can I create a memory for a customer? Then that's going to really excel you in terms of your customer experience. If you want to grow your business and you want to become the number 1 customer-focused, renowned business within your industry, then I'd love to chat with you more. Feel free to drop down to the link below and book a discovery call with me. I'd love to unpack more about your business and how you can create an exceptional customer experience going forward. As for everyone else, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope the content's been useful. I want to see people grow their businesses. I want to see customers being put front and center of many businesses across many different industries. Stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to create lots more content and start to grow this channel. So please feel free to like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.